What if I told you right after 9/11 that there will be an Arab man from a Muslim country who will be so radicalized that he will join ISIS, a terrorist organization at its prime, when they were kidnapping Americans and beheading them, when they were putting Jordanian pilots in cages and burning them alive, and then he will jump ship and join Al-Qaeda, the organization that did 9/11 to the Americans. Further, he will go and start his own terrorist organization, seize the moment, take over a country, and start ethnical cleansing in that country. And while he's doing that, Macron will invite him to come to the EU to meet with him personally, and the EU will welcome him with open hands and start sending him money while his people are doing ethnical cleansing against the Druze, against the Alawites in Syria. You will tell me that I'm crazy. Well, this is happening right now as we speak. What have happened to the world that we're living in? What kind of a future are we giving our children? Jolani, the leader of Syria right now, is meeting in Paris with the EU, with Macron, and they're taking pictures with one another as if there's no tomorrow, while there is an attempt to genocide the Druze people in Syria, the Alawites, the Christians, every minority. This is undoubtedly the agenda of the Sunnah in Syria. There is videos of him before he became the president of Syria, where he's with his beard being interviewed, and he's saying that to the camera, that Syria is a Sunni nation and they need to live under Sharia law, and we need to establish Sharia law, and anyone who's not a Sunnah should be eradicated from this country. I've just had a Druze girl from an Arab country. I'm not going to say which country, I'm not going to say her name for her own safety, but she sent me a message that broke my heart. And let me read it to you. Hi Mansoor, I am a Druze girl from. I follow the news about the attack on my community in Syria through. She broadcasts new live news reliably on Instagram from El Suwaida. The truth is, the conflict hasn't ended. There are plans to enter Suwaida as civilians, then spread and fight us. I know how important is your role in conveying our voices to the international community. I have been watching all your interviews. We are very proud and thankful. That's why it's essential to warn about that before it happens. We don't want more of our people to die. Although we hear it every day, they say we the Druze are traitors and worth death. Wow. And that was my reply to her. Marhaba, thank you so much for reaching out. I will use my voice and platform for our community in Syria. I'm so very sorry you're hearing such words of hate and threats towards you and other Druze simply because you are Druze. Stay safe and keep me updated if you hear something that you believe I should talk about. So here I am. In this episode, I want to show you a video that broke my heart. It's a group of students in Damascus who are fleeing in a mass migration of Druze young students who had the dream to have a better future for themselves. They're living in such an oppressive, terrible place to live, and they're trying to build a better future for themselves, and now they all need to flee because they've been massacred, because there are threats to their life, abandoning all, leaving everything behind them just to stay alive. We in the West, we don't appreciate how good our life is, how privileged we are. The fact that we can go to university, build a future for ourselves, study medicine, and engineer, pharmaceutical studies, to become a lawyer, an accountant, doesn't matter what. And then we go and we complain about the reality and the governments that we're living in. You need to understand how lucky you are. You need to understand how much these people, they need our help. They need our voice. I mean, look at this. Just young people with a dream to do something with their life, to build a better future for their families. They've invested their money, they invested their time, they've been studying there maybe for 2 or 3 years, and now they need to leave it all and maybe never be able to go back and study. This breaks my heart. It really breaks my heart. We need to be a voice to the voiceless. There is people out there that need us. There is people out there that if we don't speak, they will be extinct. You know what they did to the Yazidi girls in Syria? They kidnapped them. They made them into sex slaves. They divided between their warriors. I just saw this picture, Alawi girl who was kidnapped by a Muslim fighter in Syria to be married to him. And then later on, he went with her like she's some kind of a property, you know, fully covered, to her father. What kind of a cruelty is that? What kind of barbaric behavior is that? And the leader of Syria, when you're supporting him, you're supporting that. You know why? Because he's not going against that. If he is, then where is his actions? If he is, then why isn't he doing something about it? The only thing he's doing, he's trying to disarm the Druze, a minority group that is trying to defend themselves. You want to disarm the Druze to create a better Syria, don't try to bluff us. First of all, disarm the people who want to go and kill these minorities, so then you can come to these minorities and says, guys, I'm here to protect you. Let me defend you. You see, they're not going to hurt you. I'm going to make sure. But you're not disarming them. You're disarming the weak people that Their only means of defense is themselves and the weapons that they have. And while this genocide is happening in Syria, you have the German parliament sending their delegation to go to Syria and shake hands with Jolani. You have France inviting him to come to Paris like he's some kind of a celebrity. You know what's crazy? Benjamin Netanyahu is not allowed to go to France because he will be arrested. Meanwhile, they're inviting a former ISIS and Al-Qaeda member, leader, to go into France, and not only that, they're giving him money while his government is engaged in ethnical cleansing in Syria of all the minorities. Syria have a clear objective to become a Sunnah under Sharia law, and they want to take anyone out, and it's mind-blowing. What have happened to our world? What is going on in the West? Why are we sending money to these terrorists? Why are we supporting these regimes with our own taxes? You have people in your countries that are starving. You have neighbors in your country that look like a dumpster. And meanwhile, you're sending money to a bunch of terrorists that are doing ethnical cleansing against the Druze, against the Alawite, against the Christians. Whew, so much, so much. You know what? The only hope that we have for Europe right now, and it's crazy to say it, is Poland. Somehow Poland have become one of the only voices of sanity in Europe when it comes to Muslim migration. I don't know why aren't the other European countries waking up, but at least we know that there's one country that sees things for what they are. It shouldn't be that difficult to differentiate between radical jihadists and peaceful Muslims. Shouldn't be. There's actually a very simple way to do that. You need to ask them just a few questions. You need to go and check what are they teaching in their mosques. You need to go and see what are they supporting. You know, a very easy way to know if a Muslim migrant is a Muslim Brotherhood agent, ask him what does he think about Israel. Ask him what does he think about Yasser Arafat. Ask him what does he think about kidnapping Yazidi women and making them into sex slaves. Ask him what does he think about what's happening in Syria towards the Druze and etc. And just by these answers, you will undoubtedly figure out where is he standing. If he's against Israel, if he's pro-kidnapping Yazidi girls, if he's pro attacking and killing and spilling the blood of innocent Druze, then he is not your friend, because just like he's treating them, he's going to be treating you. If you're a Christian, if you're an atheist, if you're an LGBTQ, if you're a Luigi Super Mario from Italy, doesn't matter what, guys, they don't want your way of life. And there's a lot of these dangerous people that have entered your countries, and they're working from inside to bring down these countries and to support the radicals and making you send money to these radicals so they can keep doing what they're doing. The situation of the Druze in Syria is far from over. It's just going to get worse unless we talk about it. And for some reason, Western media is not covering this. And that's why we need the help of the people watching these videos. Share everything you have about the Druze in Syria. Share it in English, in France, in Italian, doesn't matter what, in Arabic, in Hebrew. Help mainstream media to realize that they need to be a voice for the voiceless, not to be a propaganda tool for the radical jihadists, because that's what they are right now. They're literally silencing everyone that is trying to speak about radical jihad Islam and trying to speak about the danger of Muslim Brotherhood. Meanwhile, they're defending radical Islam and they're promoting narratives that will support them, that will keep funneling money so they can keep committing the crimes that they're doing under the sun. Yeah, that's all I had to say about that. Stay safe. See you next time.